Hello, welcome to What's on Your Mind. On my mind today is something serious, enough of the social issues. So, I want to speak about one of the most creative interview answers that I had in the finance industry. I found this creative because it was a spur of the moment answer to a very simple question, which I approached in a very different way. I call myself one of the most traveled bankers in my community, a nomadic banker, because I have worked in several banks. And so, because of that, I have attended several interviews. And this particular question, which I answered in a very different, manner, comes across as something that should go viral, so that when you are approaching your interviews, you'll be able to sometimes use creative ways to answer simple questions. So the question is, give a step-by-step guide of how you write your credits and how you appraise your credits. So instead of the typical, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to write, I start with this, blah, 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 I just went on to approach it using the 5 C's of credit, which is character, condition, capital, collateral, and capacity. Using character as the first one, I will analyze the risk rating of the client using both external and internal agencies. I would consider his credit checks, trade checks, and the rest. Using condition, I will look at macroeconomic analysis. I will look at the company internal and external analysis. I will use SWOT, Porter's 5 forces, and the likes, to complete this analysis. And then I will also look at capacity, which is mainly the financial analysis, which I'm going to focus on the operating performance. I'm going to look at the liquidity status of the customer. I'm going to consider his debt service coverage capacity. I'm going to look at his cash flow analysis. The question I'm trying to ask is this customer capable of repaying my money with his finances? Is just as simple as, okay, can this customer meet the obligations as soon as this exposure is granted to this client? And then I will look at capital. I'm considering the capital structure of the customer. I'm looking at his management profile, and capital is not limited to just his own internal structure. I'm also looking at his own skin in the game of the credit that we are going to give him. Can he give some equity contribution? I'm going to look at collateral, the type, the coverage, is different ways out of the credits. And that's how I approached it. And of course, in conclusion, I also, which is the most important part of the credit analysis, I'm going to look at the risk that I've been able to identify going by the analysis, and of course, how to mitigate them. I'm going to consider triggers. I'm going to consider some monitoring covenants if they are necessary, both negatives and the other types of covenants. And that's how I approach it. And really, that's about it. Some days we are on our off days and we don't probably prepare or perform very well during the interview, but some days are our on days, and then we're able to approach it in the most creative manners possible. And that's a wrap today. So you can add a little bit of that creativity on the spot to make a difference. Cheers, mate. What's on your mind?